Page 170. The Three Golden Rules. Positive Thinking. How does one think positively? Number 1. From childhood on, every human being normally possesses a wishful dream. A wishful dream construct existing in his or her fantasy of something that he or she someday would like to bring to fruition, or of which he or she simply gladly dreamt or dreams of. A wishful dream of anything that he or she perceives as good, beautiful, sweet, and nice. A wishful dream which can become realized, or which quite simply represents a fantasy construct for all times. In any case, however, a wishful dream is better if it can one day become realized. However, if the knowledge of such a wishful dream has been lost, then every person is able to create a new one, a new wishful dream, in which one can indulge in the fantasy. In order to learn neutral positive thinking, it is only necessary to turn, in thoughts, immediately to this old or new wishful dream, and to indulge in it with great fantasy, mainly every time when negative thoughts begin to influence the thinking. In other words, when thoughts of worry and misery, etc., begin to burden the normal positive thinking, to restrain and to torment it. However, it is also recommended, the rest of the time, to indulge in a wishful dream and fantasy where thoughts of worry and misery, etc., are not so very overburdening. In any case, it is permissible to let one's thoughts glide along the most fanciful lines in the wishful dream, to build gigantic castles in the sky, and to indulge in all that is able to please the senses, happiness, love, beauty, understanding, and everything which uplifts the heart and feelings. There are no set limits in the fantasy, and also no attempt at a limitation should be undertaken. However, it is of the greatest necessity thereupon to pay attention that the wishful dream is always immediately seized when even only the smallest negative thought attempts to break into the consciousness. All beginnings are very difficult, thus also the learning of the neutral positive thinking. In the beginning it will take an immense amount of effort to concentrate on the wishful dream, because the negative thought world constantly shoots its morale-killing arrows. Unceasingly the subconsciousness tries to push the rampant negative goods of thoughts into the foreground, through which a concentration on the wishful dream can be brought about only very laboriously. Nevertheless, however, over and over again, every thought must be directed to the wishful dream, until the negative advancement of the subconsciousness slowly subsides, finally disappears entirely, and allows the positive thinking the upper hand and the reign. This procedure, under certain circumstances, can take only a few minutes, however, depending on the severity of the case, even several months. Therefore, in each case, patience must be practiced, because firstly, no one is born a master, and secondly, the consciousness power varies from human being to human being. Number 2. Even if the mood is quite sad and depressing, one should always put on a certain smile, just how the Chinese have adopted this as their own. It is not to say that right at the beginning one must smile with complete feeling, because this would be impossible, since that is contrary to the mood. At the beginning, the smiling is only purely external, and in the course of time evolves into the habitualness, while it slowly but surely furthers the positive mode of thinking. The external also settles itself, namely upon the inner nature. Therefore, a sad and depressing feeling inevitably also creates sad and depressing thoughts, whereas a smiling and cheerful face simply furthers smiling and cheerful thoughts. Number 3. The head should always be held high, straight and upright. While speaking with a partner, the eyes look fully into those of the partner. The entire surroundings, objects, animals, human beings, plants, the whole of nature, and everything else are to be very accurately looked at and considered and observed. Everything must be realized very accurately, every detail. Letting one's head hang down and lowering one's eyes must be avoided. Only a conscious realizing of the environment is of benefit, through which impressions are collected and positive thinking processes are built up and stimulated. When these three golden rules are precisely and intensively followed, it cannot fail to appear that in a very short time the first successes and cognitions will be achieved, and thus the first big step will have been taken towards the self-healing. However, to end this first success should now not delude that this difficult work now be discontinued, because it must be carried on for as long as it takes, until the thinking has accepted the definitive form of the equalized positive power as absolute. Once this has happened, then the worst catastrophe will never again be able to damage or even oppress this thus formed and empowered human being in a consciousness-based manner.